Question: why do people continue to believe and preach that the Earth before the flood is the same as the Earth today? Like America, Asia, Africa, Australia, etc., are now as they were then, while looking for Eden.
Yeah, I remember this when I was very, very young. I remember with, in home Bible group when I was like 7 and 8, we'd sort of sit around discussing where in the world Eden was. And we sort of were convinced that it would be in the middle of some, distant jungle, that God was still looking after the Garden of Eden, of course, completely forgetting that there's a global flood in the middle of it. I think that's the point that a lot of people forget, is that you has to go back to this program, which we do a lot of creation research, of good to bad to worse. Right, everything was very good in the beginning. Now it's not, and that will continue getting worse and worse and worse until we get to the new heavens and the new earth. And so you need to bear in mind, as well, as you've pointed out, there's a global flood in the middle of it, which is going to split up continents. It's going to shift stuff around. It's going to drastically change things like climate and so on and so forth. And so really it's, I think, fairly pointless looking for Eden, first and foremost. That's been destroyed in the flood. We have no hope in Eden either. It's not like we could go and find the tree of life and then live forever, because let's face it, God actually put angels there to keep people away from the tree of life, and that was merciful, because who would want to spend eternity in this decrepit old body that we have at the moment? The real hope is in Jesus Christ, and it actually describes that the tree of life will be in the new heavens and the new earth. So yeah, don't go looking for Eden. It's a bit pointless, basically.
I think it's part of the same problem that where people try and explain things by what they observe in the modern world. And one of the classics, I think, is the way people try and explain scientifically the 10 plagues of Egypt. And they try and say, oh, look, there's blood, red,
solar eclipse, or
whatever,
bloom, or whatever. Yeah. There's no doubt about it that God can use natural things to bring about supernatural judgment. But you have to recognize that the origins of that is a supernatural thing. The flood was a very physical thing, right? Yes. It was a very physical judgment. But when we go and start looking for the evidence of it, what triggered the flood? Was it meteors crashing into the earth? Was it this? Was it that? Well, they're all interesting ideas, but the reality is, don't become too scientific over it, because it is a supernatural judgment. This is a all-supreme being judging the world for their sin. So there's a spiritual aspect to the judgment as well. It brought about in a very physical way, but we need to bear in mind that this is a supernatural judgment, and creation is a supernatural creation. And so, yes, while there is a very physical element to creation, i.e. things are coming into existence, right? Be wary of trying to explain how things come into existence purely naturally, because we don't need to go there, right? It's a supernatural creation. That's the whole point.